Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games, back with another really cool arcade game video for you this evening. This is Bally's strange rapid fire arcade game. Not pinball machine, arcade game. This came out in 1982. And if you've been watching all of our videos, you know we've been working on this thing for a while. We bought this in pretty bad shape. We've been working through it, and we now have it fully working and looking as good as it's going to get. And so we said, hey, let's film a video of it so people will remember this thing. This came out in 1982. Like I said, Bally made it, and it's an arcade game. It's not a pinball machine. You actually have joysticks, and you shoot these little balls at the lights on the playfield. So this is the Bally version. The original version was designed by Steve Ritchie, the famous pinball designer, for Williams. And so Williams made one called Hyperball. And so Hyperball came out, and Bally freaked the hell out because they thought, uh-oh, Williams is going to get the leg up on us. They thought this was the future, right? So Bally immediately started making their own version of Hyperball that was pretty much a copy, where they changed just enough to where they wouldn't get the hex suit out of them, but it basically does the same thing, even has a similar looking cabinet, right? So they thought that this was the future and that they were behind the curve, so Bally started designing this game, rapid fire. So you can see that it's different from the typical pinball machine cabinets of the time, because the way the back box works. So the back box is shorter, the displays are in a different area, and basically the whole, we'll get into it later, but the whole thing is you use these joysticks to turn the cannon, and you have triggers on both joysticks where you shoot balls, and they don't actually hit. There's nothing on the playfield but lights. So the balls hit little switches in the back and on the sides, and so it can tell at what angle you were shooting, so it figures out which light you must have hit. And it's the same way that Hyperball works, a little bit different mechanics, but it's the same basic principle. So Williams was convinced that Hyperball was going to sell a ton, like they were going to sell a bunch of them. And the reason that they thought that, they released Hyperball in 1981. So by that time, pinballs were kind of on a downswing a little bit, right? And one of the reasons is because the arcade game market was heating up. So looking back at it now, it's ridiculous. But at the time, you have to think what they were thinking at the time. 1980, Pac-Man is released in the arcade, and they sold 350,000 Pac-Man games within a year and a half. 350,000. Now, by comparison, these are some older EM pinball machines, but the EM pinball machines were selling, they might have sold 3,000 copies. A really good game like Bally's Lost World or something like that, they may have sold 6,000 or 7,000 copies. Meanwhile, Pac-Man comes out and sells 350,000 copies. So Williams is convinced that Hyperball is it's an arcade game, but it's in a pinball style cabinet, and it uses Williams pinball boards to run. And Steve Ritchie's a genius at designing anything, so they're convinced that this Steve Ritchie creation is going to just be incredible, and they're going to sell a ton of them. So they're convinced that they're going to sell 50,000 of them, which is crazy for a pinball machine, but it's not a pinball machine. It's an arcade game. And there were tons of arcade games that sold well over 50,000 games. So they sold it for about $2,000, and Hyperball came out. Well, Bally thought, oh hell, we're behind the 8-ball, so to speak, which will become apparent in a few minutes. And so they said, we've got to do something similar. So they designed a copy of it, basically, to completely rip Williams off. And this is it. And so they had a whole bunch of these cabinets made. Now the bottom of the cabinet is basically a regular pinball cabinet, and then it has these side pieces added to it, and then the back box is completely different. It has this piece here, and then it has the strange head above it, right? And of course it looks similar to the Hyperball cabinet. And so they make this thing, and they decide, well, we'll go ahead and make 20,000 cabinets And keep in mind, at this time, most pinball machines were selling 5,000 or 6,000 games, you know. So they made 20,000 cabinets ahead of time with this weird little back box. So this game comes out, and guess what happened? Hyperball wasn't really that big of a hit, and consequently Rapid Fire wasn't really that big of a hit. So they only sold about 5,000 of them. Wah, wah, wah. So their little foray into the pinball arcade market didn't work. So their great big attempt at making a new type of entertainment device, new type of coin operated device, didn't work out all that great. So they found themselves in a weird position where they had 15,000 extra cabinets for this thing and weren't going to be able to use them. So they were working on Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man, which was probably going to be a big deal. Remember, everybody was chasing the Pac-Man craze. It was 1982. And so they had the license to do a Pac-Man game. So they did Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man and used up a bunch of those cabinets. And if you... I think we've got a Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man video here on YouTube, and of course there's everybody else does too, but you can see that they use these same back boxes on it. So they brought it out. Surely that'll get rid of the 15,000 cabinets, right? Wrong! They only got rid of 10,000 of the cabinets. So they had like 5,000 left over. So here they are, they're still sitting on 5,000 cabinets. So they say, hey, 8-Ball Deluxe. That was a really big selling game for us after 8-Ball. You know, 8-Ball was a big game, and then 8-Ball Deluxe was a big game. They sold a ton of those. So we'll just we'll make a special edition, a limited edition 8-Ball Deluxe cabinet game in the cabinet. So they put the same exact playfield and everything with a new back glass in these cabinets, this style of cabinet with the back box at least. This part's different a little bit, you know, but they use up some more of the back boxes making 8-Ball Deluxe. Surely that will get rid of the other 5,000 cabinets, right? Because I mean, 8-Ball Deluxe, they've sold a ton of 8-balls, and then they sold a ton of 8-Ball Deluxes, so now they're making the limited edition 8-Ball Deluxe, right? Wrong! They only sell 3,000 8-Ball Deluxes, so they've still got 2,000 cabinets left. So they say, well, what else can we do? Centaur. Yeah, our game Centaur. Everybody loved that. That was an awesome game. So we'll make a special edition Centaur game using these cabinets. So they make what they called Centaur 2, which was the same exact game. It just had it used this cabinet with the small back box and a newly designed new back glass for that game. And they used up all of their remaining cabinets on Centaur 2. So this thing, they sold 5,000 of them, but it was nowhere near what they thought it was going to be. Same deal with Williams. Williams had the same problem. They had a bunch of extra cabinets that they used to make other games, because the Williams, the Hyperball one, something was different about the back box. It was shaped different or something, but it wasn't exactly like this, but it was kind of similar. So Williams had the same problem, and Bally had the same problem, and they never tried it again. So this thing has minimal instructions on it. We're going to have to just try to figure it out as we play it. As you twist the handles, of course, you move the gun. You can go all the way to the left, and you will shoot that tank right there. If you go all the way to the right, you line up and shoot that tank right there, and then you can shoot everything in between. So this is all we have to go on. There's no instruction card like normal on a pinball. But of course, this isn't a pinball. It says force field blocks oncoming attacks. The buttons on hand controls move the force field. So the force field is that little white light there. And you have these buttons that Hyperball didn't have, right? So if you press them, you can even do it in the track mode. If you press it, it moves the... I wonder if I could block it. I wonder if I... Let's try to block it while it's in a track mode. I wonder what that does. Whoop. Okay, so I've got this one blocked. Let's see if this one's the one that hits us. Okay, that one always hits us. Okay, let's try to block it. Well, if I can get it lined up right. There we go. Let's see if we block it or if it still does the same thing. Blocked. Ah, the other one would have hit me anyway. So, okay, so that's the force field. Force field blocks oncoming attacks. Buttons on hand controls move force field. Frenzy, 1,000 points for each letter. So frenzy is this back here. Look, there's a ball stuck up there. Is it? I'll have to mess with that. Well, I guess I could just shoot it. I'll just shoot it. Okay. The little splat thing. More than 4 laser cannon shots available when flashing. So I think they mean these little lights here on the side. So there's 2 there and 2 there, and I think if they're flashing, it means you got more than 4. Laser cannon fires from force field's lit position. Oh, okay, well that's kind of cool. So you move the force field over, and then whenever you hit the laser cannon button, you shoot your laser out the force field. That's kind of neat. Okay, so you get 1,000 when lit, and you get 10,000 when flashing. Of course, those are the advancing soldier looking things. Panic button destroys all attackers. Yeah, I hit that often whenever I'm playing this because I'm always panicking. And so the tanks, you get 5,000 points if you hit the farthest one and 2,000 if you hit the nearest one. So you see the tanks on the side. I guess they're not lit up, so it's harder to see, but there's a little tank that lights up in front of these. There they are. And so if you hit the one farthest away, that's a little bit harder of a shot, so you get more points. Activated ships can be destroyed with the laser cannon. Wow, that's pretty cool. So there are these 2 ships here. The way the whole thing is working is these guys are marching down towards the ship. And when they get to the ship, there are 4 positions for them to sit in the ship. So to man the ship, they need 4 of them in it. So you might shoot 2 of them, and then 2 of them make it down and get in the ship, and then they wait for 2 of their buddies to get down. Well, when all 4 of them get in the ship, the activate light comes on. And then they have the power to shoot you. Boom. So the way that you can be beat is by that, or by the tanks getting down here to the bottom. The tanks can shoot you when they get to the bottom. And then the green thing, I'm not really sure about that, but every once in a while you see the green thing fire. So I don't know what causes that. So I don't know about that. But that's kind of what we're looking at. So I will set up the tripod. We'll turn out the lights. We'll play it a little bit and see what you think about it. Now, spoiler alert, this game's hard as hell, and I am not good at it, but we'll mess around with it a little bit just so you can see. And you won't be able to see anything on the displays. Basically, you've got 2 scores because 2 people can play. And then over here, you've got a light that says how many credits you have. You have one that tells you how many base stations you have left, which is when you start, it's like your men. Whenever you get blown up, you lose a base station. And then you have a light that comes on and tells you how many panic buttons you have available. So I think you start with 4. And so you can slap that sucker and it blows up everything on the table. So I will set up the tripod and we'll play through it a little bit and see if we can get anywhere. I guess we'll be playing for score. Okay, so as you can see, you're going to lose a little bit of the lights because of the reflection of the back glass on the playfield. Not much I can do about it, folks. I tried doing it at a lower angle. Had the same issue. Now you can see the cannon just barely. So this little arc here is the force field, and you can see the cannon moving around below it, and you can see the joysticks moving a little bit. And you can see a reflection of the scores, but I'll tell you what score we get. And so basically, we don't want the cannons to get to the bottom, and we don't want a bunch of these guys, 4 of them, to get in each ship, because then they can zap me. If it gets crazy, I'm going to hit the panic button. And I have turned the music up. Actually, I only turned it up so you can turn it from 0 to 20, I think, or 0 to 15. I put it on 3. Now, when you hear how damn loud it is, I want you to explain to me why you'd ever need to put it on 20. But that's how they made it. So we'll play it a little bit. Like I said, I'm not that great at it, but we'll see if we can get better as we go along. And the sound effects are really pretty cool on this. Oh, that green thing was coming at me. I panicked. All of the balls had gotten stuck somewhere. Oh, the green thing was coming again. I ran out of bullets. Uh-oh, I'm out of the panic button. I couldn't get it. I was trying to line up the cannon where I could shoot the ship. Oh man, I don't have a panic button. Yeah, I'm out of them, so I can't even try it now. Damn. They got me, folks. So our score was 299,000. And then there's another number alternating that says 348. So I think maybe that's how many of them I shot. Maybe. Something like that. Whenever Williams did Hyperball, which again, if you didn't hear what I said earlier, Steve Ritchie designed Hyperball. Steve Ritchie is the man. Now, I'm not trying to denigrate the gentleman that designed this. I'm just saying that Steve Ritchie came up with this whole idea, and he's a genius, basically. But whenever Hyperball came out, it shot 250 balls a minute. I'm sorry, 250 balls a minute, and they're 3/4 inch balls. And so whenever Bally did theirs, they made them 5/8 inch balls, and it can shoot supposedly something like 450 of them a minute. So the cannon supposedly is twice as fast as at least in shooting as the Williams one, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a better game, of course. All right, so we'll play it again. What did I say my score was? We were up over 200,000, weren't we? See how he got in the left? You probably can't see. Oh. They got me. You probably can't see, but one of them got down and got in the left ship. Got him. They got me. I was out of panic buttons. I need to use my cannon more. Let's try the cannon. That didn't work very good. Alright, so I got 179,000, and that time I got, let's see how many bases, or how many kills it says. 179,000 points, 252, I think that's how many I shot. I don't know how well you can see the ball shooting out, but one thing about this one, and it's all rapid fires, I don't know if the same thing happened with Hyperball, but it's not super accurate. Whenever you shoot, the ball doesn't always come out exactly how you have it aimed. So it'll come out like this, or it might come out like that. So you've got about a 2-inch fan that it comes out. You can hold it in the same place and keep pulling the trigger, and it'll go. It's not super accurate. Actually, I'll do that. So when I start this time, I'm just going to hold it right in the center, and then I'm going to shoot 10, 15 balls, and you can see what I'm talking about. But they're all like that. It's not because this one's messed up or anything. So watch how they shoot. So I'm not even moving. You see what I'm saying? Now I'm moving. Ah, they got me. I'm running out of balls. They're getting jammed inside of it. Woo! Ah! The damn thing's kind of fun, but it's tough as hell. I mean, there's got to be some strategy to this thing, you know? So I got 178,000 that time, and I got 283 kills. But the first game I was over 200, and I got over 300 kills. So we got to figure out what the problem is. Now, whenever I've got the force field here in the middle, it protects you the whole time from that cannon shot that comes down the middle. And I just had it one off, and the cannon hit me and killed me that last time around. So I don't know what the best strategy is for that. I guess if you played it enough, you'd get to where you could move it pretty often and keep yourself protected. But another thing is, a couple times I've ran out of balls, so I may need to put more in it. I've got some. I think I've got 20 extras or something like that. There's if you saw the earlier videos we did, there's a big baffle, like a board that goes underneath the playfield that catches them all. And if you get any dirt or anything, any little bit of dust or a little piece of broken glass or anything that, you know, might be on a pinball machine, it'll stop one of them, and then the other ones will back up behind it, so you'll get a whole bunch of them blocked inside the machine. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to shake the machine, and let's see if we hear a bunch of them dislodge themselves and come down to where they're supposed to be. There's one that was on the playfield. Hear them? There's a few moving around in there. But, all right, let's play another one. So I want to get up over 200,000 again. Die, sucker! Die, sucker! Boom! Ooh, barely got him. I was trying to destroy the ship with my laser. All right, I've got 2 bases left, people. They got me from behind. Oh, they got me. Crazy. Well, there you go. That was my best score, I think. I got 296,000. And I got 370 kills. Pretty fun, crazy game. I could see how you could get good at it. If you played it a while, you'd probably figure out the smart way to play it, which I haven't figured out yet. And by the way, I hate to even admit this, but I looked around in the manual, and I think this is about as easy as you can set it up. I don't think there's not really a way to make it easier. Like, it just it starts with a certain number of bases and you get a certain number of points, but that's kind of it. I didn't see any setting to make it where they're less aggressive or anything like that. So this is going to be a game with a pretty steep learning curve, you know. I'm sure there's people out there that this was their game back in the day, even though we were ragging on it and saying that, you know, it didn't sell well or whatever. It still sold 5,000 copies, so it was probably all over the place for a little while, for a few months there. So I'm sure there's strategies that people figured out, and there's probably some people around that were really pretty good at it. Wonder if they still are. Muscle memory, you know. But there you go. So we finally got the thing finished. It's playing great, as you can see. Fun game, but really hard. Now, by the time you see this video, Rapid Fire may have already shot over to someone's game room. We may not even have it available for sale anymore. So we're not necessarily trying to sell you this game. We're just filming it so that people remember what it was like, because it's 2018. And this came out in 1982, so it's 36 years old. And it's still running, but 36 years from now, there might not be that many of them around. But at least there'll be a video of one of them around, right? So leave your comments below and let us know what you think about this thing. So we may not have this for sale by the time you see this video, but you can see all the games that we do have for sale if you are looking to buy something, an arcade game or a pinball machine or a jukebox. You can check out our website. Go to lionsarcade.com, and it's always up to date. We just put this one up on there tonight because we just finished it up. Whenever we sell it, we'll take it down as soon as we sell it. Now, if you're local, you can come by and see us. We're in downtown Rock Hill, South Carolina, right outside the window there, which is about 15 miles south of Charlotte, North Carolina. We're right over the border. So you can stop by and see us. We got a whole room here, a whole building full of arcade games and pinball machines and stuff for sale at all times. We're always working on something cool if you want to come by and watch. Now, if you're not local, so you can't come by, and you don't want to buy one either on the website, even if you are local, that's fine. Just subscribe to us here on YouTube, and every time we get something like this in that's interesting, we'll film a little video of it, have some fun, and take you along for the ride. Leave your comments below. Hey, give us a thumbs up, because we took the trouble to film this for you. Whenever you do that, whenever you click the thumbs up, with YouTube, it makes them show more people our video, because you're saying, hey, this is a kind of cool video. So basically, you're suggesting to other people that they watch the video, and we would really appreciate that. So give us a thumbs up for taking the trouble to film it for you. Leave your comments below, and we will see you on the next video. Rapid Fire.